Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the August 11th, 2025 regular council meeting to order. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Epuwic, Prince Edward Island, Mi'kmaq is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq peoples who have occupied this land for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. Before we begin, I'd like to highlight the purpose of our meetings and our roles here. We strive to uphold the values of Three Rivers: community, innovation, and inclusion. We have a special town, and our council is committed to contribute to sustainable growth. Council meetings are essential to our governance process, providing transparency in decision-making. Elected members discuss finances, events, town maintenance, design, and bylaws, then vote on proposals. I lead the council and break the tie votes if needed. Residents are encouraged to attend and participate, ensuring everyone can be part of the governance process. We value your input and aim to maintain a respectful and professional environment. Personal attacks and disruptions won't be tolerated. Let's make these meetings a reflection of our pride in Three Rivers, and thank you for your respect and participation. The first item, number 2 on our agenda, is the approval of the agenda. Moved by Councillor McFarland, second by Councillor Spin. Any additions, questions on the agenda? Everybody okay with that? Councillor Spin?
I think this is the right place to do it or whatever, but take a few minutes to acknowledge our local fire department and all the surrounding areas for their excellent work there the other day, which could have been a real mess. So I think they deserve hats off.
Yes, they certainly do. That was certainly something that was averted and could have turned into a lot worse. We're always very lucky to have them. Thank you for mentioning that. I also should mention that Councillor McLean sends her regrets tonight. So all in favor of the agenda as presented? Okay, motion carried. The next is item number 3, disclosure of conflict of interest. Is there any councillors on that are in a conflict of interest of any of the items on tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. So item number 4 is adoption of the minutes. The first is the approval of the July 14th, 2025 regular council meeting minutes on page 2. I'll give you a few minutes to have a look at those, and if you note anything that needs to be corrected or any additions. Okay, I need a mover and a seconder.
Moved.
Moved by Councillor Spin, second by Councillor Van Donkersgoed. All in favor of the minutes as of the July 14th, 2025 regular council meeting? Aye. All right, okay. 4.2 is the approval of the July 28th, 2025 special council meeting, and those are on page 10 for you to have a look at. Okay, need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Van Dyke, second by, need a seconder? I'm sorry? Okay. And Councillor Van Dyke's good. Okay, no comments on those minutes? Okay, I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
It's not on these minutes, but
Yeah.
it's on, would have been other minutes prior to that. At budget time, we talked about putting money aside for the reparation of some of the art pieces. Mm-hmm. Where are we with that? Nothing was done to the fish up in the hill, or?
No, we did have some money for repairs, and I think we had some money for a new art piece. Yeah, Dorothy would know. Dorothy's on vacation, so we will ask her. Yeah, no, it's been talked about for sure from my end anyway, and we'll find out how Dorothy's going. One thing that we were doing, John and anybody else on council, we were trying to salvage some of the pictures that were on the walls in the Montague Town Hall and get some frames for them. And then we were going to try to take some history from Georgetown and Cardigan and see if we could put it in a bunch of these bare walls here and kind of get some of the history of the region back on the walls. There was quite a bit of it, and it was damaged in the fire. But I think there is some definitely in Georgetown that we can try to get together and put it on the walls here.
very
Yeah.
good.
So that's one project we have been working on. It's kind of in that line, but we will get the information from Dorothy.
Great, thank you.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. Those minutes are approved. Page 5, or item number 5 is the RCMP report, and I see Staff Sergeant Robinson is here. So we'll ask him to come and speak to us again this evening.
I'm always so nervous. Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me. It's super hot out there. All right, for July, our persons crimes remained consistent with both May and June, ending the month at 25 occurrences. Assaults rose to 14 over the 12 observed in June, followed by uttering threats with 6 occurrences. The remaining activity saw 3 criminal harassment occurrences, a single indecent harassing communication, and a single sexual offense being reported. 5 of the assaults and 2 of the uttering threats were all concluded with charges later recommended. Property crime rose in July, increasing to 63 occurrences, up from 46 in June. A single break and enter was reported, which is still open and under investigation, and there were 5 theft of motor vehicles taking motor vehicle without consent, which is a significant jump, as the 12-month average for theft of motor vehicle is 1 occurrence. Mischief, which of 27, and theft under 5,000 and fraud, all made up the most of the activity. A single drug enforcement occurrence, possession related, was reported in July, and traffic enforcement occurrences decreased in July down to 137 in the month, from 178 observed in June. Impaired driving occurrences accounted for 10, with 7 by alcohol and 3 by alcohol and drugs combined. Of these, 2 of the alcohol-based occurrences and 1 of the combined occurrences resulted in charges later recommended. A failure or refusal to provide breath sample was also reported, which also resulted in charges later recommended. And there are 31 speeding violations reported, with an additional 68 traffic offenses or violations. We had no fatal collisions in Southern Kings, and 2 check stops were documented. Overall, 396 occurrences were recorded, with 382 of those being founded or still under investigation. This is lower than July, which had 406, and then last month, this is 406 last year, and then last month when 455 were reported. Notably, in the town of Three Rivers, we had motor vehicle collisions, theft, impaired driving, report of impaired driving, and mischief were the ones that highlighted the area's call volume or notable numbers. The collisions, obviously, there's more driving going on with the nicer weather, so we see a lot more increased accidents, usually in the summertime, with increased traffic volume. As for our policing initiatives, we attempted to stop a vehicle with several observable deficiencies in Surrey. The vehicle fled but was not pursued. However, alternative investigative efforts led investigators to identify and locate the driver later and outside of the vehicle. He was arrested and charged with multiple offenses under the Highway Traffic Act and Criminal Code. King's RCMP also attended a non-criminal single vehicle fatal collision in Annandale, a collision and entrapment in New Perth, and several break and enters in Cablehead, Bristol, Cardigan, Selkirk, Green Meadows, Bay Fortune, and Dingwall Mills. King's members also performed 3 curfew checks, arrested 4 individuals on outstanding warrants, and monitored 6 people released after incarceration. That included post-release visits, and we partner with Parole to monitor 2 subjects in our communities. And we also attended community events in Belfast, Montague, Brudenell, Cardigan, Surrey, Wood Islands, Murray River, and St. Peter's, and presented to seniors on fraud awareness. Traffic enforcement, we saw check stops in Vernon Bridge, Murray River, Pisgah West, Dingwall Mills, and Bridgetown. Dedicated traffic service patrols were conducted in Montague on 5 different dates, and in Surrey on 6 different dates. And on July 4th in Vernon Bridge, speed enforcement was conducted using a handheld radar. And that was, resulted in 5 summary offensive tickets during that date. And then if you skip ahead, I provided information with respect to the traffic tickets that are being given in the warning, so you can see the dominant is speeding. Obviously, speeding is always the highest, and it is the season for us to see an increase in speeding on the highway, so we like to be out there. And we are happy to see the traffic enforcement out here regularly. 11 different occasions they were out in King's area, focused solely on King, so I'm happy to see that, in addition to the effort that we make. And that's my report.
Thank you, Sergeant. Still a very busy time for you guys, yeah.
Busy. Then holidays, throwing holidays on top of that.
Yeah,
It's a
and-
tough,
and-
challenging time to,
Of course,
to
you,
manage, yeah.
it's great to see you be able to come to our parades too. We know, we appreciate that.
yeah. And please, invite, we're more likely to attend a community event if we get an invite, and that could be from council, that could be from the communities. It doesn't matter, we're more likely to be able to attend, because if I'm aware of it and I know that it can be accommodated, I can set a task for a member or a file for a member to attend, so it makes it a lot easier for us to do that.
Yeah, okay, no, we'll keep that in mind,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Any questions for the sergeant? No, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, item number 6 is presenters and delegations. Tonight we have 2 presenters. The first one is Frank Dord. I asked Frank to come to the podium, and I think the microphone is already on, Frank, so floor is yours.
Perfect, it appears to be so. I'm both a resident and a business owner in the town of Three River. I just want to bring something forward that the Canadian Federation of Independent Business has done a survey and has determined that 70% of small business have suffered loss due to construction. On average, they lost about 20%. That's reality. That's exactly what we've experienced. We were giving different timeline when construction was going to end. And I just want to focus a little bit about the way that it's been done and the traffic woes that we're experiencing. We had Compass aired a segment where Madame Mayor Johnston mentioned that it was only a 5-minute. Unfortunately, it wasn't. And I've had a lot of customers come to my store to express the displeasure of this misinformation. And I called the town of Three River after July, in August, to find out what the delay was, because the construction keeps going and I saw no end to it. And I was informed that it was the province that's doing that. So I approached the province, and the province says, oh no, we were done on July 30th, or whatever the date was. And this is the town of Three River that have added extra work. Based on that, I just want to express that I'm not here with anger, but with resolve, with no hostility, but unshakable conviction that truth matter in this. And especially for those who have sworn to lead. But that was a lie. And you stood before cameras and knowingly spoke falsehood, twisted fact, denied reality, made promise that you had no intention of keeping. You misled the very people who gave you power, and that is no small offense. It is betrayal. This is not just politics. This is not a difference of opinion, misstatement, or shifting in policy. This is about integrity. And when integrity fails at the highest level, democracy erodes from the inside out. Let me remind you that public office is not a game. It's not a stepping stone for personal ambition or a platform for ego. It's a sacred trust, a covenant between you and the people. Your title does not give you the power over truth. It binds you to it. You were elected to serve, not to deceive. And serving means being honest when it's hard. It means telling the people the truth, even when it costs you votes or popularity. It means standing up for what is right, even if it's not easy. This community cannot function if we cannot trust our leader. The public is tired tired of leaders who forget the people as soon as the spotlight fades. But let me remind you of something else. It's not too late to change. Accountability is not the enemy of leadership. It's the beginning of it. Imagine for a moment the courage that it would take to stand before your constituent and say, I was wrong, I misled you, but I'm here to make it right. This is the kind of leadership that we all are starving for. Not perfection, but humility. Not control, but character. So I urge you, not as an opponent, but as a citizen, to remember your oath. Remember the people who believe in you, who will still deserve honesty. Step out from behind the spin, the advisor, and speak the truth. Because truths still matter, and because power in the end is temporary, but the legacy of your action, the impact of your integrity or your deceit, will live long after the cameras are gone. To serve is to sacrifice, to lead is to listen, and to lie is to lose the very thing that give you the right to stand here. The people deserve better, and it's time, far past time, that you give them exactly that. I don't like to be lied to or misled in any way. Business are losing money. I stood before you last year to explain and give you some different views, and I'm glad that the CFIB is actually on this, and they've already, Montreal and Calgary now are compensating business for the interruption that they're having. So we're part of this group, and I'm encouraging all the business here in Montague to be part of the CFIB. And if we have to legislate new laws, but business should be compensated. And when you plan a project, you know, it should be planned with business people so that we could work together, not against one another, and that we have a clear timeline of dates. I don't know how much inventory to have or how much staff to have because it changes from day to day. Are we going to have traffic today or we're not going to have traffic? So you're not giving me the opportunity to adjust my business with the traffic. And I should be able to be given that opportunity, but at the very least, I should hear truth from you, all of you, and remind you that you have a sacred responsibility. You're here to serve us, not to serve yourself. And that's all I need to say. I've lost all drive to own a business or a house in the town of Tree River. And we have a plan in place. I'm not going to sell the business right away, but we don't want to have a business here in the town of Tree River if this continues. Anyway, thank you.
Frank, I certainly had no intentions of lying. I can't remember when that interview was done, and I don't remember the details of the interview. It's, being in front of a camera is definitely not something I like if you're alluding to the fact that I'm, trying to, move myself up the line by being interviewed. But at the time, it may have been 5 minutes. There was different days, there was different, you were held up at different times. But I just want to get something, I just want to have that, anyway, if I did say something that was incorrect, then I apologize. But I just want to get something straight about the whole project here. Maybe I can get you to explain. I'm going to get John to explain. It certainly has taken a lot of our staff time trying to mitigate the traffic and the delays. It's not like we didn't do anything on our part here at the office. We certainly did. Actually, one day I was at the Petrocan. I actually went over and talked to the people on site, which didn't get me very far either. So I just want to explain, there was a number of different projects going on here. And just so everybody's clear, I'm just going to ask our CAO to explain the projects and who is responsible for the projects, so we can get that clear. And like I say, it was never my intention to say something that wasn't true. Maybe I had been through that day and it only took me 5 minutes, and maybe it wasn't one of the days that the traffic were backed up first. So certainly never my intention to tell a lie. I'll ask John to explain the different projects that went on here, just so everybody's clear.
Thanks, Your Worship. So last year, the project, as you know, was to install the storm water out to the McDonald Road and then to provide some active transportation. part of the way. We didn't finish the active transportation last year, and that really wasn't a delay on the town's side, because we understood later on that the province was going to make some changes on the Robertson Road. They were trying to acquire some land, just didn't get finished in 2024, and ended up being pushed ahead to 2025. And the work in 25, it was the province that had originally taken the lead in putting the turning lanes in and changing the lights and doing some resurfacing. And then there was a decision by the town, and I'm not sure when the exact date on this was to put in that sewer and water main up the Robertson Road, and that did extend the project to where it's at now. The reason that was decided to be done this year was if we install that sewer and water main on the Robertson Road later on, you'd end up having to tear up new pavement and
Costs
be
more, yeah.
cost more and more, yeah, it costs about double. So there's a number of moving parts. We did try to talk to transportation several times about ways that we could try to mitigate the traffic. They did put someone at the lights on across at the mall at your location to try to synchronize the lights with the, I don't know how successful it was, but there was tries. And the work on the sewer and water main on the Robertson Road ended up being a bigger project than there's some issues that you often run into, being a bit longer than we anticipated. I think that's just kind of a snapshot of some of the challenges that we had. Probably, we can wear it a bit that we should have done a better job of communicating.
And why the peak tourist season? I think a lot of business would have been okay if it was done maybe in the fall or beforehand, but this is the peak tourist season. Last year, we lost revenue because of projects, because of the boat.
Yep.
And we lost more than 20%. I don't know about you, but if you have 20% less on your paycheck, it's significant, especially when the cost of living has gone up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't speak much to the timing this year, because I think that would have been the province working with the contractor to determine when the best move was. I know several people talked about that the work should be done at night. There were a couple of times that the contractor looked at working at night and couldn't get staff that would agree to it. And then they also have the logistics of having lights and all that kind of stuff. And I think there was at least one occasion in Charlottetown where they worked after night, but it was in an area that had a low resident population, and it was more early morning than late at night. So there is some struggles there, and I think the province had the lead on the timing of the project. We certainly didn't have input into that part of it. But I certainly hear you, and certainly hear that, none of us would like to have a 20% cut in our salary. Hopefully down the road, things will improve the flow and we'll end up in a better place. And we are talking as council and staff on ways that we can help promote some of the local businesses once this construction is done. It won't mitigate the hurt, but it'll try to demonstrate some compassion and care from the town side of things.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Charlie Hickman, and Charlie's topic is code of conduct.
Good evening, Charlie Hicken, Albion. Council Code of Conduct, Part 2, Section 9 states, Council shall exhibit ethical behavior and make decisions in the best interests of the municipality. I have just been recently informed that before any construction began on Main Street this year, the municipality was given the option of delaying start of construction until September the 1st. But the municipality turned that down, literally throwing all of Montague businesses under the bus. July and August are the two busiest months of the year, and having construction in that period makes no sense whatsoever. The only reason I can figure this was done was an attempt to cover up the fact that council had issued a development permit for a 40-unit apartment complex in Robertson Road on an on-service lot that is also contaminated with hydrocarbons, breaking every rule in the book.
Charlie, can I just talk to you? Stop you
Just
for-
a second?
No, just
I
one second.
understand that you're not supposed to interrupt the
Yeah,
speakers
I
as they
am,
speak.
but I understand from, that you're supposed to keep on your topic, which is code of conduct. Are we talking about breaches of the code of conduct here? That's what you,
Yes, it certainly it all is.
it's all the breaches.
Yes,
of
it
the code
is.
of- And which which one are you pointing out to? I'm just asking for some clarification.
I'm pointing out ethical behavior and making decisions that are in the best interests of the municipality. Now, may I continue?
Go ahead.
Okay. Then, in an attempt to service this lot, they are asking the taxpayers to pay for a service and water extension on Robinson Road that the developer should be paying for to the tune of $315,700. On May the 6th, the owner of Anchor Construction met with the Sewer and Water Committee requesting an extension of services. But now the reason for the extension, we are being told, is the Department of Transport suggested it. Likely story. The Municipal Government Act, Section 201E states, Council may levy the total cost of or a proportion of the cost of a local improvement against the parcel of land that will benefit from it. Okay, and I ask, why are the taxpayers paying and not the developer of this property? Local businesses suffered greatly through this construction period and are now being asked to pay for a sewer extension. This whole scenario was hatched up at a secret meeting of Water and Sewer Committee on July 11th, then approved at council meeting with no opportunity for public input. This whole development was the brainchild of Councillor MacDonald, who has ties to both the landowner and the construction company. It is being promoted as a non-profit housing, but that is not affordable housing. We have two large apartment buildings recently built, one on School Street, that the units rent for $2,150 to $3,450, the majority of which are still unrented. The new apartment building on the main street across from the old manor has one unit rented. Normal people just can't afford the rent, and these people are charging. Yet council is determined to accommodate building similar units. When is somebody going to wake up and realize that you can purchase a new home on a 1 acre lot in this rural area for $350,000? At a 5% interest on the mortgage, the monthly payment is $2,000, less than what you can rent an apartment in Monaco. This is where the new buyers are going. It is time that support is given to these builders that are building these homes, that the public is demanding, and not a few developers who are using their connections to get these mega projects approved. If you continue to make decisions that harm present businesses and discourage new businesses, our beautiful town will slowly die. I understand there is a decision on funding for the sewer extension on the agenda tonight. Do the right thing and make the developer pay for this. Is there any questions?
Well, I'd like to know who you got your information from about when we could have the construction done. Can you, I mean, it's one thing to tell us that, but where did that come from? Because we've never heard, nobody approached us, nobody approached me.
I'm not at liberty to disclose my sources.
Well, I guess, Charlie, it's hard to come up here and accuse us of something if you won't tell us where it came from, because as far as I
It's
know.
public knowledge in the community,
Well, public knowledge, there's a lot of gossip in the community. I wouldn't call it fact.
and a lot of it is right.
Well, anyway, just on another note, the building down here in School Street, I was at the festival down here this weekend, and I met a lovely couple, that moved into that building and are absolutely very pleased with it, underground parking. I'd say they're a retired elderly couple, and they couldn't be more grateful for the building. They said that the evening of the fireworks, they were able to stay in their apartment and had a great view of it. So I guess there is lots of good things to say about that building.
But they're not the average taxpayer.
Well, the average taxpayer, you're pointing out about the mortgage, you know, not everybody has the credit or the income to get a mortgage. Anyway, Cody, did you want to speak?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So you made the comment with the construction. So we were offered the chance to stop the province from doing their construction? Is that what your statement is saying?
The province offered the town to postpone the beginning of the construction until September the 1st, instead of doing it in July and August.
So they came to the town and offered us the ability to stop them from doing their construction. till
Not to
September.
stop them. They were willing to postpone it.
Okay, so that's not true. And our construction, and that's the mixed thing about this job. It is province construction, it is Town of Three Rivers construction. You are correct, Anchor Construction did ask the sewer committee to do this. Martina had nothing to do with it. She never came to one sewer meeting, never emailed me, never advocated for it. You're correct, July 11th we met. I'm not 100% sure why the minutes aren't showing. But we had that meeting because of a request from the province and the contractor to do that sewer and water now, because it would have cost us about twice as much money to do the extension. Robinson Road was the natural next selection to extend that road. The plan is to actually go all the way down to Central Street someday and come up Central Street. And then so that whole area eventually becomes infilled. These plans were set out long before Anchor, long before anybody, back in 2018 when we first wanted to do the highway corridor. So if you don't have actually any proof except just, oh, I know this and that's the town and gossip, I mean, I don't take it as factual. If you can show me emails or proof that we denied it, for one, I would love to see
If
that.
you would look at the minutes of the sewer meetings, that's what they state.
That the
I'm not making things up. All you gotta do is read the meeting.
That they offered.
Minutes of the meetings.
That the
Anchor
province offered
Construction
that?
came to the town requesting the extension.
Yes, I said they did. I didn't deny that. But we didn't do it then. It wasn't until after when the province came to us, months later, now that we have this tore up and said, hey, this is about $250,000 job now. This is a $500,000 job next year or the year later, because you're gonna have to reinstate all that pavement. If we do it now, the province is actually gonna be reinstating the pavement, so we won't be incurred on that cost.
That was after you approved a 40-unit development on a non-service lot.
So that's the planning board, then the sewer, they're different entities.
No, that came to council here.
The planning board
Let's
does,
be-
yes, sure,
let's be-
council did that, the sewer board then makes recommendations to council, and council does what they do. But one doesn't tie the other does, they work together, sure.
Anybody with a half a mind can connect all the dots.
I can connect all sorts of dots too, about what's not going on or going on.
My turn.
Wayne, did you have something to say?
Martina was first, so.
Yeah. So, Mr. Hicken, you called for my resignation at the last meeting, CFC meeting. I want to clarify some of what you've said, okay? So you said that the sewer and water meetings are held in secret. You used that word again tonight. That's a really nasty word for you to be using for people who have been elected and are doing their best to make time to make things move along at an efficient cost and price for all taxpayers, okay? So that's one thing. The word secret is not part of our lingo. The other thing, you mentioned Three Rivers Economic Development Committee. We have minutes of every meeting that we all participate in. We don't release them to the public because then the public gets a wind of a project like the taxi, water taxi, where the funding might not all be in place yet, right? But once a document or a set of minutes like that go public, they become public, and that's when stories get out before the project.
I think I must stop you right there.
No.
If you read the Municipal Government Act, it states that all committee meetings must be.
Yes, I'm not done, okay? Yes, so Mark Baker, I happen to have grown up in this community for 60-plus years. I know a lot of people. Does that mean that someone can't be a chair of a committee because they know my name? That's what you insinuated. Moving on. Anchored Construction. What does the fact that I sold part of my property to Anchored Construction, which I did not, It was sold to Randy Mitchell and his partner, not Anchor Construction. Anchor Construction is a different company. Just so you have your facts straight, Mr. Hicken. Number 3, MDB Ventures. You stood there at the microphone and told the public, of which 60 or 70 people might be watching right now, you told them that I got money from the government and you didn't use the word loan, but it is a loan. It's part of Denny King's government finance PEI New Housing Challenge Loan Program, of which 16 million came to Prince Edward Island, okay? The fact that my partner, I'm a third partner, there's 3 sisters involved in this land buy, and we made application to put the road in, not housing, not sewer and water. We put the road in, and we got a loan, not a grant, for $220,000, of which we still owe $100,000. But I just want to clear that for public record, if you want to diminish my credibility here. Okay? Based on the application, I have followed through on every part of that loan, okay? It was entitled to everyone in Prince Edward Island. The fact that my brother-in-law happened to know about it and he made application, that was good with me because it was a loan, not a grant. Okay? So we don't have sewer and water secret meetings. But I remember Pius Murnahan having that vet clinic down the road there that you keep speaking of, miss this and miscommunication and all of that. Pius Murnahan moved his clinic because he had to carry water for every pet and every dog that went in there because his water was so bad. And so were 17 other business people in this community at a meeting I was at years ago that Jim McPhee, chartered accountant in Montague, chaired, okay? So there was a need for sewer and water in all directions, okay? Then you go on about the Three Rivers Industrial Committee, that we do things in secret. We do not. The minutes are there if you want them. But if you want to come to every one of these meetings and diminish us as councillors over and over and over again, and you and other people of the public, and 55 acres for a development project, now this development project, you think in my lifetime that that sewer and water is ever going to go down to my development? No, it's not. You heard John Jameson a minute ago. It's going to Central Street, and that was the plan. It's never for my benefit. So unless you want to retract or step back from the microphone and stop with your negativity, I'm not resigning. I made a commitment for 4 years, and I'm here to stay. And the other thing is the Milton Industrial Park. Stephen Myers, Minister Myers said, active communities, why don't you take that park over? Because there hadn't been a lot sold in 13 years. It took 3 years of a business plan and a development plan and a survey plan, but we did it. Now it belongs to Three Rivers, not a desk in Charlottetown. And now we've already sold 10 lots and ground is going to break. And is that a problem? Do you have a problem with me helping development in Three Rivers? Obviously you do, but it seems everybody else doesn't. I'm through.
Everything I stated was a public fact.
Okay, thank
Sorry.
you, Mr. Hicken. No, you're fine. Thank you, Mr. Hicken. Who else? Wayne, go ahead.
Well, after Martina, what I'd like to say is, I'd like to actually, like the mayor said, you called out and said we had a meeting with the government to delay the road project. Well, I'll put my name right on the dotted line and say I know nothing of that. So I'd like to know where you get your facts.
No, I didn't say a meeting, I said the offer was made.
But by who?
If,
That's not true.
Mr. Hicken, if you're going to come to council and make accusations, please from now on, tell us your sources, okay, your facts. We don't need to, council have a hard enough job trying to do their job, and especially at your continued things that you've said about Councillor McDonald. So if you have something that says that we received information, then we'd gladly like to see it. But from now on, when you come here, please bring some facts with you and not just gossip that's around the town, because there's a lot of it going around. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. As mayor, following that, I had a whole page of answers to some of Mr. Hickens and Miss Macbeth's presentation from last weekend, and I am going to continue with it, even though Councillor McDonald has covered some. So I just want to take a moment to clarify several matters raised during the July 28th Committee of Council meeting, as well as to address a few recent concerns that have been brought to our attention. Conflict of interest legal fees. The legal fees associated with the recent conflict of interest and complaint were confirmed and approved by a vote of council. Council thought that was the best way to get a solid answer. Those costs were a direct result of a formal complaint submitted by Ms. Janice Macbeth. Without such a complaint, these legal fees would not have been incurred. Legal fees related to the IRAC appeals. Concerns have been raised by Ms. Macbeth regarding the release of legal costs related to IRAC appeals involving Mr. Charlie Hicken and Mr. Blair Sorry. A reporter questioned the costs associated with those appeals, and the town provided the appropriate information. That is the full extent of that matter. Despite the criticism suggesting a lack of transparency, I want to tell you that the town is fully committed to openness and accountability. We now provide full, detailed financial statements to the public, and will continue to release financial information when appropriate. IRAC appeal. We fully expect that IRAC will determine the appeals that have been submitted have merit. We respect IRAC's role and in this process, and we await their decisions. Number 4, Sewer and Water Committee meetings, and I think Cody has touched on this, but anyway, I'll just clarify it. The July 11th Sewer and Water Committee meeting was advertised on the town's old website, but unfortunately, it missed getting carried over when we went to the new website. On what date was it? The 14th. So we opened up the new website on the 14th, and it was just a mistake that it wasn't carried over, but it was on the old website. It was not a secret meeting, as Deputy Mayor stated. We acknowledge this oversight and will take steps to improve continuity with transitional digital content between platforms. We're sorry, we made a mistake. 5, posting of committee minutes. The Municipal Government Act requires the minutes from council and committees be recorded and made available to the public, but it doesn't mandate that they be posted on the municipal websites. In fact, many municipalities do not publish these online. The town of Three Rivers does post minutes for regular council meeting, planning board, committee of council, the sewer and water committees for both Georgetown and Montague. It's all on our new lovely website if you want to have a look. Minutes are posted only after they've been approved. We do not post minutes that are not approved by council. So in that is what causes the delay and the availability of minutes. We do not put draft minutes up. Economic Development Committee structure. The Economic Development Committee is not a formal council committee. It operates under the Memorandum of Understanding with Active Communities Incorporated. We have an MOU, anybody can see it, which governs its structure and administration. The mayor appoints the council representatives, but the committee functions under the auspices of Active Communities. Minutes are recorded and can be made available upon request. 7, allegations involving Councillor McDonald. Allegations concerning Councillor McDonald have been reviewed by the lawyer who conducted the conflict of interest review. We have received a written legal opinion confirming that there was no conflict of interest exists. Councillor McDonald has further explained that here tonight. Council considers this matter closed, and as far as I'm concerned, it will not be addressed here again. Councillor McDonald's business disclosure. Every one of us have a disclosure statement that you can find on our website. In fact, I read it after that meeting. Councillor McDonald has publicly disclosed her interest in MDV Adventures on the town's website. There has been no secrecy in this matter. The funds received by the company were part of a loan from Innovation PEI, as Councillor McDonald has already said, and there's no plans for the town to extend sewer and water services to that subdivision. That may be long before I'll be in my grave before that happens, I'm sure, with the cost of doing sewer and water. Milton Pool Court and feed mill allegation. It has been alleged that the work has begun on a feed mill in Milton Pool Court. This is incorrect. Development permit number 81-25 DEP was issued on May 15th, 2025 for site preparation only. No additional development beyond that permit activity has taken place. there's some facts, okay, that I just want to make sure everybody that's listening, and I would really appreciate facts when somebody comes to the podium. And we'll move on. Okay, the next is my mayor's report. Last month, we had lots of very successful festivals, and I'm not going to go into this much. Most of all, I want to thank these volunteer committees that put so much work into these festivals. The festivals were great. We could not have done it without them. Mallory Peters and Sarah Doyle put their heart and soul into those festivals, and they turned out amazingly. The run in Georgetown had over 500 entries. I think I was down there that morning at 8 o'clock. I could not believe the people and how successful that Clean Tech Marathon has become. I want to give a shout out in particular to our new employee, Jonathan. Jonathan came in late in this game, but he managed to do an excellent job with the volunteer committees on all of these festivals. We have gotten some very nice compliments about Jonathan's work. So, and somebody that's come in the middle of it, it's been great. And it hasn't been easy. The Eastern Eagles hosted their soccer tournament this weekend, and I know with the traffic it was busy, but on Saturday there was no traffic holdups, I don't think, or anytime I was in there wasn't. And so even as the summer festivals and the ball games wind down for the year, staff are already preparing to arrange for the upcoming hockey seasons, and there will be ice in the in the Cavendish Farms Wellness Center probably by the end of the month. So that's how busy things are around here. I apologize for the business impacted by this constructions, and I ask everybody to support our local businesses. I think John hopefully has explained how many moving parts there was in that project, and hopefully we'll have a much better town when that finishes. Okay, the next is the CAO's report, and I'll let John do that.
Thanks, Your Worship. My report's in the package, but I will just give you a brief overview. On the financial side of things, we've received the draft financials from MRSB. We're reviewing them now, and they'll be presented at the August 25th Committee of Council meeting. And you'll see in the June financial report, the town again remains in a strong financial position and continues to post a surplus. We mentioned the new website. We launched that on July 14th. Feedback have been very positive. People find it easy to navigate, and it's quite intuitive where things are. We're also hearing from staff that it's much easier to update than our older website. On the human resource side of things, CUPE negotiations are ongoing. We have a pause in July. We're starting to finalize a number of items there. Sorry, I just lost my notes here. We completed recruitment for the executive assistant and clerk to council role, and we're pleased to announce that Andrea McDonald will join us on September 2nd. She's an executive assistant currently with PepsiCo in Halifax and will be relocating to Three Rivers. On the planning and development side, the recent mobile home applications in rural areas highlighted the need for more affordable housing and a gap between our official plan and our current housing realities. Council approved the permits, and staff will review potential plan amendments to better address our rural housing needs. This was a complex issue, and unfortunately some people painted it as black and white, but it's certainly more complex than that. And I have to say that all parties, staff, planning board, council, and the folks that were applying all acted appropriately and professionally within their roles. You will see from our development report that our planning staff continue to be very busy, and that report indicates that Three Rivers is a community that people are choosing to live in and invest in when you look at the money that's being indicated in the expenditures there. Again, as the mayor mentioned, a big thank you to volunteers and staff for delivering another season of wonderful community events. They were well attended, well organized, and certainly showcased community spirit. So that's a brief overview, and if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for John? Okay. Okay, we'll move on. And next on our agenda is the development permit report, which is on page 34. As John mentioned, no, 7.3, I'm sorry, page 29. Moving ahead too fast there. As John mentioned, if you've had a chance to look at the development report, there is 40 permits. 2.5 pages, for a total of 40 permits issued in July. So as John said, there is a number of people building single-family dwellings. There's people, some businesses I notice on there. Anyway, it's planning, Danielle and her planning staff have been extremely busy, and I commend you for doing this much work in 1 month. Okay, the next is 7.4, page 30, page 31 is the development permit report.
That's what we just did.
No. Don't we
Yeah.
have something else to do?
No?
Just, okay, we just have the, okay, there's not two? Oh, I'm sorry, yep, I'm losing my space here. Okay, sorry, the next is the financial report, and it's on page 34.
And Donald.
And we'll ask Don to speak to that.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this financial is for June 30th. It's the end of the first quarter of the 2026 fiscal year. We ended in a strong financial position again. We're under our total expenses budgeted by $47,663. We're over on our operating surplus budgeted by $131,991. Leaves us with an operating surplus of $146,205. We did have some capital purchases throughout the first quarter, which brought our total cash flow surplus to $34,315. Still in a great shape.
Thank you. Any questions for Don on the financial report? Yeah, yeah. No, great to see. So number 8, we just have the one request for decision, 25-27, CCBF uncommitted funds. So the request for decision is on page 36, and the request is, be it resolved that the council authorizes the allocation of $115,531.31 in uncommitted funds to the CCBF project 12.5.6 expansion of water and sewer network. Moved by Councillor McFarland, second by Councillor Van Donkersgoed. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carried. And we don't have, okay, so that ends this portion of our meeting. We do have a closed session, which is closed under section 119(1)DE of the MGA. So at this time, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment for this meeting. Okay, moved by Councillor Monroe and seconded by Councillor Spin. All in favor? Okay, and a motion to move into a closed meeting? Okay, second by Councillor McFarland. Okay, we're gonna have a closed meeting. If we will come back. We have a motion to open the meeting, motion to open the meeting was moved by John Van Dyke and second by Cody. All in favor? Okay, we are now in an open session again, and we have a motion that came out of the closed session. Who, do you have a motion?
To approve the new job position of Arena Facilities Manager, on pay grade level 11.
Okay. Oh, okay, moved by Cody and second by Ann. Any discussion on it? Okay, all in favor? Okay. Motion is approved, is passed. Motion to adjourn, Alan and John McFarland. Okay, good night. Thank you, everybody.